No,
It's okay. You can push whichever one you want.
let's see.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? I am Doug the Clicker Wagner for some reason. I just went dark with it. I went really dark with it.
Very.
Doug the Clicker Wagner coming to you. We're happy to be with you. We got a great show. We are going to talk a little Last of Us on HBO Max. Also going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum and talk a little about the 1993 movie The Leprechaun.
The smash hit The Leprechaun.
Crushing box office numbers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you might notice this week that there is only two of us, and that is, well, first off, we'll wait a minute to rest in peace, moment of silence for Brian Roush.
Don't rest in peace
who is living his best life in, I tried to do the bait and switch. Rest in peace for Brian Roush. If you didn't hear, you heard it here first. Sorry, friends and family.
Wow. What a terrible way to find out the news on this podcast in that bait and switch format.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. Brian is with his family enjoying a well-earned and well-deserved vacation at Disney World. They did Animal Kingdom yesterday. Sounds like it was a fantastic day. They're doing Magic Kingdom today. So we will probably have more to report next week about his trip. The fact that he drove 20 hours
is ridiculous.
In a van.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've driven 8-hour trips before, but I've not crossed into double digits before. So here's a tip of the hat to Brian Roush for just doing the most.
To commit to that drive from Chicago to Florida? Orlando, right?
Yeah.
That with a family, mind you, not just your family, but then there's two additional people, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it was Maggie and then Maggie's sister.
Right. So that's kudos to y'all, because I think my family, we would have tried to tear each other head off. I don't know. And they drove through the night.
That's, you know what? It's not the drive. It's the commitment that we drove through the night. Because even I, if we had to do a 14-hour trip, I would draw the line at, hey, Brittany, this is the line. We're not, or if we had to do a 20-hour drive, it would be, no, we're stopping and sleeping somewhere.
For sure.
We have to. Because kids are going to need to get out of the car. I'm going to need to shut my eyes. You're going to need to shut your eyes. That's where I draw the line. So Brian's a champion, I think, to kind of go this part. So.
He made it through the night. He's got some playlist. What I'm most interested to hear is he's given us updates in the chat, right?
He did.
And so I forgot what his playlist was through the night.
It was the no skips playlist.
It was so we should put that on our Patreon. We should put that playlist on our Patreon for anybody that may need that for a big drive coming up.
Or for anything, really, because he had some bangers on there. He gave us an update a few days ago where he was like, Beyonce's Lemonade is a no skips. He also would isolate some of these down to other ones. He was like, My Chemical Romance has one skip. So he would do some good ones. So we'll have to get the full rundown for him.
Brian makes a good playlist, by the way. He made two really good playlists.
He really did.
Throwback playlists. So shout out to Brian Roush, man.
Absolutely. Shout out to Brian Roush. But more importantly, Marcus Lucky Charms Destin, how are you doing, sir? What's going on with you?
It's a good day. It's a lot of Monday. I'm not going to talk about it on air, but I was talking with Doug about just Mondays. When a Monday really feels like a Monday when it comes to the work, not like the feeling, because the sun was out today. So for me, I was kind of like, oh, okay, the sun is out. That
felt a little like Superman today.
It was just, I really basked in and went and just took a deep breath and was like, oh fuck, I haven't seen a patch of grass in eons. It was good, weather wise. It was good to see the sun and look out the window and see that. But work wise, it was one thing after another. As soon as I got to campus, and it was like, but we here now. Literally, I don't think I had a meeting right after work for another thing, and then came home, made me some eggs, and then started getting ready for the podcast.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And
Roman Myers, we're gonna get you that playlist. And anybody that wants to
you.
be like Roman Myers and communicate with us and talk with us, you can join our Patreon family and become a producer of the show. Roman Myers,
should do that.
in different capacities, is always a huge part of the show, of this experience that we got going on here, and we want you to be able to do that too. So don't forget, hit us in the link in the bio on any of our socials at Films in Black and White, except for Twitter, which is at
B_W.
Films B_W, and hit the link in the bio. It'll take you directly there. Support an independent podcast today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but how was your day, Doug?
Similar, like where it was just kind of like oh jeepers, this is a lot today. And so, but it was good. We had one weekend where we didn't go anywhere, which was really nice. So we were able to sort of like just catch up around stuff around the house. Was a good weekend. I'm trying to talk Brittany into right now, like for us to take a like adults only vacation. And what I mean by that is a vacation sans children, like in September. So we're trying to like figure that out. So I did a very fun, put together a whole little presentation. I got the kids involved in the presentation today. So it was a lot of fun. So we did that. So more to come if we actually end up deciding to take that trip. But I'm excited about it. Just the prospect of it'll be good.
So give me like your dream trip. Like money is not an issue. Where would you go for your adult only vacation, and how long would it be? Like that also matters too.
I think if it were my dream vacation, money's no object, I think the destination would still be the same. I think we would just like take a little bit more time and fly. So right now what I'm pitching is for us to go to Hawaii for like 6 days. But doing it like on a budget, like staying in an Airbnb, like maybe not renting a car for the whole time, like that type of stuff. Like, because I've been looking at everything and putting together a whole spreadsheet. Oh, and by the way, if you need help planning a vacation, for some reason, this is a calling. I love to plan stuff out. And so that's kind of what we get. If money's no object, we're not going to scrimp. Like we'll stay in a nice hotel. We'll get like a shuttle to and from. Like we just won't scrimp. We'll stay like maybe 12 days to really enjoy and take the most of it. But yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Is that okay? So then I have to ask you, like, if taking the Airbnb route, right? Is that part of the experience for you? Like, if like is roughing it, like when we did our road trip to LA, part of the experience of LA and the whole entire trip was roughing it in some sketchy hotels sometimes and then being in better hotels. Do you think that like plays a part to the trip, or is that kind of something like I can bite the bullet on this end to enjoy something else on the other end?
To me, if I get to spend 6 days, Siri has some thoughts on it. If I get to spend 6 days in a tropical vista without my children, just my wife and I will do whatever's necessary lodging wise to be able to like take it easy. So for me, that doesn't bother me. And here's the other thing. I also think there's something to be said for any vacation I'm on, like roughing it. And like, if I'm in that environment, like it's the Basement Boys plus Doug Wagner, like I'm staying wherever you all tell me, and I'm I'm gonna take the improv approach to that trip, which is and what then what like then what are we doing, like because you kind of just have to ask no questions. But if this is a like we as a married couple are going somewhere to relax and escape for a little while, I want it to be a little bit more organized, if that makes sense.
I agree. Nope, that absolutely makes sense. Awesome. That's good.
But Marcus, not gentleman, just Marcus today. Still a gentleman, but just Marcus. We have a whole podcast to get to, and it starts with playing Catch That Quotable.
Catch that quotable.
Yes, silky sounds of Lucky Charms Destined in your ears.
Sound like an old blues singer, Lucky Charms Destined.
Oh, Lucky Charms Destined.
Old Lucky Charms sold his soul to the devil to play the
used to play with 2 banjos.
Back in my day.
So Marcus, are you ready for this week's quote?
I'm ready.
This week it comes from Roman Myers, is back in our quote queue, and here is what we have. So, time moves quickly. Just think, yesterday you were a farm boy, today you are a hero, tomorrow you may see us together again.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I'll read it one more time. Time moves quickly. Just think, yesterday you were a farm boy, today you are a hero, Tomorrow you may see us together again.
Okay, so for some reason, the first thing that comes to mind is Hercules.
Okay.
Okay. But he wasn't a farm boy necessarily. So that's what's kind of, zero to hero. That was the first thing that immediately went through my head.
Yeah. This is giving me Star Trek vibes. This is giving me, and not like most recent Star Trek. This is giving me like Star Trek, like Search for Spock vibes. Like it's giving me like old school Star Trek
like
vibe.
Captain Kirk?
Yeah. Because Kirk was from
Iowa. William Shatner?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This could be okay. So like TV show vibe or like the
movie vibe for sure. So like maybe whether it's like trying to think like which ones dealt with which one was the original new one dealt with time travel.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe that one.
I also want to add something about that Star Trek movie.
Okay, please.
And I don't know if we've ever mentioned it. But I don't know if I've said this on here before. I feel like I should have though. That movie's fucking fantastic. The first one.
The Chris Pine original.
Chris Pine, J.J. Abrams.
Yep.
That movie, I feel like, is severely slept on. It's a lot of flares in there, a lot of shit like that. But the casting was perfect. The storytelling was perfect. And it gave you like this new iterations of characters that you really like. So I really just wanted to say that in this moment.
Yeah.
I don't know what this movie is. Roman, do we get a hint?
Well, I'll also say this. Roman's kind of like a little bit of a mind fuck with our quotes because he'll be coming to the chat and he'll be like, "You're ice cold."
That's true.
And this is the only place my brain goes.
Okay, so read the quote one more time for me.
I will read it one more time. Time moves quickly. Just think. Yesterday you were a farm boy. Today you are a hero. Tomorrow you may see us together again.
Okay, who is you may see us together again?
I don't know.
That's the component that we need right there, Douglas.
This isn't a Superman movie, is it?
It
Marcus?
Can't be a super. If it is, slap my ass and call me Harry because I don't know. I have no idea.
I've never heard you say that phrase out loud before. It's hilarious.
I don't think I've ever said it out loud. I don't know what this is.
Because there's a part of me that's like, could this be like Superman 2?
No, I don't think so. To see us together again, I don't know any type of language where Jor-El wouldn't say that shit to Clark. He wouldn't mention him being a farm boy. And then Jonathan, there are no instances in the movies where Jonathan and his wife are leaving him. So I don't think that they don't ever.
I'm hung up on the farm boy piece of this.
And I understand that. Honestly, it could be like Star Wars or some shit like that.
It really could. Okay, here's our hint. None of your parts should say Superman. None of your parts should say Superman, Doug.
All right.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to lock in my guess of Star Trek knowing that I'm cold. And I'm going to go with the Chris Pine one, the first one.
Okay.
Just because there's a time travel component to that. For some reason, it makes sense to me. And that's the route I'm going with it.
Honestly, I don't know what the fuck this is. So I'm going to go with Hercules because that was my initial response.
Okay. All right.
If it's Superman, I'm going to be pissed.
Oh fuck! I have never seen this movie before. This movie is the film adaptation of the book Aragon, which is about dragons. And it's said by Ed Spielers.
Yep. What a deep pool.
That's a really deep pool. I've never seen this movie.
You've never seen Aragon? You got to watch Aragon. Aragon was based off a book. I used to read the Aragon books, right? And I think there are 3-4 of them. Maybe there are more.
I think there's 4. Sounds right.
I think there's 4, and they're each a different color of a different dragon. Aragon was such a good movie. I don't know why they haven't attempted to remake that. They did the one movie, and I think it was supposed to be a series, and then they never touched it again. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, good pull, Roman, because there was no way I was going to get that.
I need to go watch Aragon.
Aragon made me nervous because Aragon gave me Dragonheart vibes. Did you ever see the movie Dragonheart?
Nope. I don't think I've seen Dragonheart.
Let me summarize Dragonheart for you really quickly because I watched it once when I was sick and I've never forgotten it.
I'm on board.
Like way back. Dragonheart is King has a son. Son has like a birth defect with his heart. King has a friend dragon. He's like, yo, my kid's sick. Some with his heart. The dragon's like, hey, do you want some of my heart like to help it? And King's like, I mean, if you wouldn't mind. And the dragon's like, oh yeah, sure. Here's the thing though. It's going to link us together forever. So like if I die, he dies. If he dies, I die. It's just, that's the caveat. King's like, that'll never be an issue. Flash forward, it's a fucking issue because this kid turns out to be a monster. And like, it's like he's a tyrant and he's terrible. And so people are like, we got to find the dragon. So we kill the dragon and kill the son. Dragonheart. And Kevin Costner's in it.
Oh, what a great addition. What a great addition to the summary. You didn't list anybody else but Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I also think Sean Connery plays the dragon. I got to look this up quick.
What an interesting voice to put behind a dragon.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, not Kevin Costner, Dennis Quaid.
How did you get Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid mixed up?
Marcus, because you know those presentations you've done where I thought this person was actually this person. I get that with Dennis Quaid all the time. So it's got it's Dennis Quaid is the lead, and then Sean Connery plays the voice of the dragon. Great cast though. Great cast.
David there's a sequel called Dragonheart Vengeance.
Yeah. Okay. We should add this to the list. I would love to see your take on this movie.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's got 3 stars out of 5.
I want to see your take on this movie so bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the quote, Roman.
Yeah,
got it wrong. Again, hopefully that gives you the bellwether of the quotes that we're able to handle for everybody listening. Remember, message us wherever our socials are at. Films in Black and White on Instagram and Facebook. Films and B_W on Twitter. Message us with a quote. We'd love to read it on the air and to guess it. So be a part of the fun. Marcus, you and I are going to do something a little bit different. We are not usually a TV series podcast.
No, not typically.
We are usually a movies podcast, hence the films in black and white. But there is a series that is out on HBO Max right now that is outstanding, called The Last of Us. And I wanted to take a moment for us to talk about the first 2 episodes of The Last of Us, just so we can kind of dive into a little bit more before we dive into Leprechaun. So
we can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat for Leprechaun. What have you thought of the show so far?
Honestly, I think it's really good. So I'm a person, just to give a little bit of context. I don't play video games. I think I've talked about it on this podcast, but I watch people who play video games because I'm not like really into video games anymore like I used to be, but I like to watch for the gameplay and the storylines. So I've watched a couple of different people play Last of Us before, so I know the whole entire storyline 1 and 2. So for me, this is such a great adaptation of a video game. Like, shout out to Naughty Dog, right?
No shit.
They are really doing their thing, and it's to the point where it's such a good adaptation that I don't mind the little critiques and the changes that they're doing. Because I saw like a video with the writer of Last of Us, I believe, like who for the game, and he was saying like he was so the joy about working on this was working with another writer, another person. Could give another perspective on things that they could change that kind of still fit within the storyline and of Last of Us. So I'm enjoying myself. I think that the first 2 episodes have been bangers. It's like watching a fucking movie, and I think that that's crazy to me. The quality that they're doing this at, and to be able to tell that story like they are. But Doug, what do you know about Last of Us prior to the series?
I'm really glad you asked. So I used to be a big like video game person. I've never been a multiplayer guy. So like if there is like Call of Duty, not my bag. But stories like The Last of Us, games where there's like a really robust story and there's like a plot, like I love exploring that type of stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why The Last of Us I had a hard time playing is because I gotta be real with you. It was really spooky for me. It was a spooky game for me. And also the other piece of it is that like I don't like games where I get punished if I don't sneak around good.
Okay.
Because you need to understand, sometimes Doug is the Leroy Jenkins of the group, where like I'm just like, what if we just fought everybody in this room? Is that an option?
God.
Like, so like Metal Gear Solid, they were like, you were discovered. I was like, no, I fucking wasn't. I was behind that edge. It's like, yeah, but we saw your pinky toe. Oh, fuck this. Like, I get so like exasperated, or like, and I don't want to like, so spoiler alert really quickly for The Last of Us. If you have not seen it, put a pause in it, come back later, like at that piece. Like,
that's a weird place to pause.
Like, if I knocked like a pencil off a desk in The Last of Us and a clicker fucking got me, like I was like, I hate it. Like, what do you how did they know it was me? Like, it's just there's that part of it that I just couldn't stand, and it was spooky. So I played about like halfway through and then got busy and had kids and all that type of stuff and never had a chance to go back and pick it up. But it was fantastic when I played it. So where I've seen in the series so far, 100%. Like I would echo what you say, which is this is an outstanding adaptation, and the emotions from playing the game, it still pulls up out of me as I am watching this particular show.
Yeah,
so
this is one of the things I like about this show, as opposed to other, I guess, post-apocalyptic zombie, whatever genre this falls under, right? It's how intense it is. Because playing the game or watching people play the game, it's one of those like, okay, you got to creep through this, or the screecher or the clicker is gonna fucking get you, right? You creak, the floor creaks, and you're fucked, and that's the rules of the game. All right. And when it happens in the game, it's kind of like you just don't know. It's because you have to do so much stuff at once. You got to control it and then do all this thing. When I was watching this episode yesterday, I literally held my breath for 30 seconds when they were in that fucking museum. When that clicker came through the fucking door, and Joel was like, from this point on, we are silent, not quiet. We are silent. Okay. And he was like, it from that point on, it was so fucking intense in there that it made me so eerie when there was like a camera shot of the clicker passing by Joe, like behind them, behind the little glass that they were hiding behind.
An
when
old glass too. Like it made it all warped and disfigured.
It put me on edge because I couldn't see the fucker anymore out of the frame. And I felt myself trying to like turn the camera like a fucking joystick. I couldn't see his ass. I couldn't see the clicker. And the next thing I know, boom, the shit just, like she screamed and the shit. I mean, and the effects, they look practical. They're not cheesy. It's scary without being forcefully scary. I don't know if I may have PTSD from COVID, because I feel like we was like 2 sneezes away from this being our, like, the life we could have lived.
You know what it was? It was in the first episode when they are both like, when the guy is interviewing 2 scientists. And scientist 1 is like, that could never happen. And scientist 2 is like, yes, it could.
My boy like, Jonathan from The Mummy Returns, Mummy and the Mummy Returns.
I was like, okay, I've seen this before. This feels very recent, like maybe too soon. Of the like, this could never happen. Yes, it can. It happens right now. Like that. That to me was
But and even the beginning of episode 2, when you have the scientists, right, and it's all in their native language, and I love that shit. I love the fact that it was all in there. So they pick her up from the restaurant, and she's looking at the shit. They say, they don't tell her nothing. They say, just look, let her come to her own conclusions. And then they put her in the hazmat suit. When she opened that shit up and saw that thing and scurried out of there, and the next they said, well, what do you recommend we do? Is there a way we can start working on some medicine, some cure? She said, nope, just bomb it.
That's all you can do.
Take me to my family. I want to spend time with my family, and bomb it.
Yeah, that was terrifying to see her response.
Ridiculous. I don't know. I just really like how they are handling things. I get one half of the battle is casting people who can execute, and they did that, right?
100%.
I think there are a couple people that are like, oh, Ellie doesn't look like Ellie from the game, and Tess didn't really look like Tess, but the way that they're acting and executing these characters, I think, is one thing. And that's what I don't know. That's what the fuck I'm enjoying. And that fucking kiss scene is gonna haunt me forever. It's gonna haunt that when that little motherfucker comes out and all the little shits is like kissing Tess in the mouth before she dies and all that. I was like, man, that's some sick ass shit, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be real. That's gonna be with me forever. I also I want to shout out like the first episode, what they did with the old lady. in the next door neighbor's house.
It's always the old lady. Makes it
because what they did so well is they already said they did such a good job setting her up in the show, and I think executing this in the show so well, where they said, we're going to set this woman up as someone that maybe you ignore, but then is later like a part of the problem, because they were like, oh, you need to eat, and she's not really paying attention, and she's just kind of like she's not all there in the morning, and then it gets worse and worse. It's like there's a part that's just like the real horror for me that set in was there was a moment where she died and the people taking care of her did not realize it, because they're still trying to be such good caregivers that they didn't realize that there was something wrong. Point. And that terror of setting in that, like, that was in your house and you didn't even know it before it was too late. That's where I lost my shit. I was like, oh my God. And then the effects of the fungus like crawling out of their mouth is on another level. It's on another level. Yeah.
And it's, I guess, and one thing that they changed in it, I guess they didn't do spores. They just did the fungus route. But that is something that's also terrifying, because it was in everything that they was eating. Like, it was kind of almost unavoidable. It's in the everyday things that people would eat. The bread, it was in the flour, it was in it was like from a bad crop. It was like, it's kind of unavoidable if you just didn't know. And then you have this really intense scene where once Joel comes picks his daughter up, after him and Tommy come pick their daughter up, it's non-stop like intensity from tension. It's non-stop tension from that point on until the end, where she unfortunately like even when she gets shot. That is such an intense scene. It had me sitting for a little bit like damn, like she did well. Like, they really acted that scene out, and
they did really well.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. So
yeah. And I think
can't wait to see what they do next.
And Pedro Pascal, I know you said the casting was outstanding, but I got to spend a minute on Pedro Pascal and how well he does. For some reason, he does
dad roles
really well. Like Mandalorian, 100%. This like knocking it out of the park. And so he's going to be like your sci-fi dad going forward.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's fine.
He's just naturally good, right? Like, I enjoy anything that you tell me that he's in or Oscar Isaac is in. I hate to always compare them two together, but
it's because they're like best friends. So like they talk about each other.
I thought they were brothers for a while there. I thought they were brothers. I'm not gonna until I watched the interview, and they're not brothers. But anything that he's been in, he's not gonna pick a role that he's not going to execute. You know, he's like really this happy, cheery guy when he's in interviews. But when you watch Last of Us, he's really embracing that, like, really gritty and grungy and just beat down Joel. The one scene that got me was when they bought the little girl in the wheelchair in the first one, and they was like, what if I told you you'll get all this, like all the snacks you like, all this other shit, right? And then the next scene is the same little girl, he's got a bag over her head in the back of the truck. And
wearing similar shoes, like in drawing.
Well, it was the same little girl. Like, they killed the little girl.
Was it?
Oh yeah, that I think like whatever girl they had.
I must have missed that, so I'll have to go back and check that.
Or maybe I messed it up. But my interpretation was the little girl that was in a wheelchair that they was testing. They then killed her for whatever, because she might have had the virus.
Oh sure.
And then they had to, when they have to burn the bodies, they wouldn't burn the bodies. When the lady was like, I can't do this, and Joel just casually picks her up and drops the body in the fire.
Yeah.
Like, without even blinking. I said, oh, okay, this shit is about to be about to be one of those.
Yeah. His character arc towards the end of this is going to be
it's good.
It's going to be really good.
How many I know there's 2 games. How many seasons, and how do you think they break this thing up? How many seasons do you think they'll get? You think season 1 is game 1, or do you think season 1 is half of game 1, season 2 is the other half, season 3 is Last of Us 2, and etc.?
I think if HBO Max is smart, I think they're gonna try and keep the like creating a brand new story is a huge risk for them.
Yeah.
right? Like they can't Game of Thrones it as much if they want to go beyond the second game. So I could see them maybe going like a couple's episodes past that to try and say like almost like an epilogue, right? Like the last episode or the very last episode is a little bit longer and it's showing the climax. And I know nothing about the second game, so that's that there. So it could be that they go past it. I think that would be weird. I could definitely see though season 1 is game 1, season 2 is game 2, and I don't know if they do a season 3 or more than that, to be honest with you.
There was an interview with the writer of the game, one of the writers of the game, and he said that they're developing a multiplayer world of Last of Us where it expands the world. So I could see them
maybe
possibly going that route once, to know that there are other characters for you to watch and enjoy and possibly deal with this world. And because there isn't really like a real conclusion, like there isn't like a say in the first game, like there isn't really like anything there.
No,
it's a continuation. So I mean, I'm just
you're more familiar with the second game. Is there a hard conclusion in the second game, or is it still pretty fluid?
I would have to refresh my memory, but I want to say there's not a hard and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. There's not a hard solution, not like everything is fine now, we're going to release these spores to combat the other spores. I don't remember that, but it's been a while since I watched somebody play it.
Well, and I suppose the beauty of this, right, is like this is going on everywhere, right? Like this is
just Boston.
This is just Boston, and these, two people. What's going on elsewhere? So there's more stories that you could tell. I think they do have to be very careful not to Walking Dead this.
Oh, fuck.
You can't go. I don't think if this goes beyond the 2 games, and again, if this goes beyond the 2 games, I think it's only like to 4 seasons and that's it. Like, I don't think you could go on for 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or however, whatever fucking season that show's on.
I'll take 4 seasons. I'll take 4 seasons and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Don't give me any more. Because there's a lot you can go in the game 2 with the dynamics of game 2. Just give me 4 seasons. I don't want nothing else. Because you're right. If they Walking Dead this shit, which they could, just to milk it, I'm going to be pissed.
I am also going to be pissed. But I also think the writer of the game probably wouldn't want to. Like at some point in time, he's going to be like, y'all, I got nothing else. Like, I don't know what else you want.
Or just want to protect your art a little bit. Like, you don't want to just like, shit on it a little bit. But I'm enjoying myself, man. Comes on Sundays at 9 p.m. on HBO Max. So if you get the chance, you can catch up on episodes 1 and 2 right now. So
yep, for sure. Yeah.
You're not too far behind.
Awesome. Well, thanks for indulging me as we kind of talk through that. As we kind of go forward, where time allows, we will do updates and impressions on the show. I'm curious to see what Brian thinks of this too. Like when he gets back, it's like the first thing I'm going to ask him is like, have you been up to date on that? What do you think so far? Because his 2 cents would be really, really cool. But
because he's played the game and he's watching the show. So
for sure. Yeah. But Marcus, speaking of movies and shows that don't have a hard conclusion, let's talk about 1993's Leprechaun. Would you care to give us a barbershop summary? No, hold on, really quick. We got here because we realized that there's not a lot of news happening out in the Hollywood world. So again, this is a plug for the
outside of the Cowboys getting their ass dusted, Shannon Sharp getting into a fight at the Lakers, and then who else lost this weekend?
People are just acting wild.
The Bills lost.
People are just acting wild these days. Crazy. I saw that Shannon Sharp stuff, and I was like, first off, you are an intimidating man.
He's huge.
If he looked at me wrong, I'm pretty sure I'd piss myself. Like on sight. Or if he said my name the same way he says, "Come on now, Skip," like I would. I'm like, I'm in trouble. I gotta go.
Behemoth of a man. Yeah, that's a behemoth of a man. But that cardigan was fly as fuck. Like,
he looked sharp.
That was crazy.
He looked sharp. Let's look at that. Anyway, yeah. So there's not a lot going on past some of that. People out here being crazy.
Yeah.
And so we decided we'd put it to our Patty family, like, hey, we have some time. Do you want to pick a movie for us to watch this weekend? And it came down to either this or the movie Anaconda from 1997. I had never seen this movie before, so I said, let's watch Leprechaun.
Yeah.
But remember, you can always give us insight on what movies to watch over on our Patreon. So, Marcus,
Yeah.
please give us your barbershop summary for the movie Leprechaun.
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all now. I'm gonna completely forget or butcher names, okay?
Please. That's
Because I
okay.
can't remember anybody's names.
Yep.
So,
I'll try to
O'Malley.
remind you.
Is it O'Malley? I think it might have been O'Malley. I don't want to
Yes.
be. I don't want to be irresponsible with these
O'Grady.
names.
O'Grady.
O'Grady. Okay,
Mhm.
so it was O'Grady. Old man O'Grady comes back randomly in a limousine right after his mother's funeral, and he pops up at his wife's crib. Right, pops up in his crib in the old country of New Mexico, and we'll get back to that later. Okay, he pops up in the old country, and he has a thick Irish accent, so it is heavily influenced
Very
that
thick.
this man is Irish. All right, and his wife is Irish. So they go. And he is excited, and his wife is like, "What the hell are you so excited for? You just came back from your mom's funeral." So he was like, "Yeah, but look what I found." He pulls out this vase, cracks it open. It is gold. All right, and he was like, "I took this little leprechaun and forced him to tell me where his gold was," and he did. That was the plot, the real quick plot right in the beginning, right? So he does that, okay, and he locked the leprechaun in a suitcase. Okay, so
Yes.
cool. He locked him in a suitcase. So then the wife is like, "Boy, what the hell are you talking about? I'm gonna make you some tea, and we need to figure this shit out." And he's like, "We ain't gonna be poor. We're gonna be living in mansions." So basically, he goes and he's like getting all this shit set up, and he's excited. And the leprechaun, the wife accidentally frees the leprechaun because the leprechaun tricks her into thinking a kid was in the suitcase for some strange fucking reason. She fell for that. So, like, if my husband had a kid in a suitcase, I would not. I got different questions, but whatever, that's fine. So she goes and she unlocks it. Out steps this motherfucking leprechaun. Okay, ugly as shit. He ugly as he's like, "I want me gold. Where's me gold at?" and so she says, "What the hell going on? It's a leprechaun. What the fuck going on?" And so old man O'Grady comes down, right? And O'Grady comes, and he's the only one that knows how to handle a leprechaun. So the wife dies because the leprechaun pushes her down the stairs, and then O'Grady is trying to defend himself against the leprechaun, or at least trying to like hide the gold and fight back. And the leprechaun is getting the best of him. So as O'Grady finally beats the leprechaun, he puts him in this crate and puts a clover on top because it's the only thing apparently to contain him is a fresh four leaf clover. So he nails it to the top of the box, puts it on top of the box or whatever the case may be, tries to nail him in there. Before O'Grady could burn the house down, so he drags his wife up, tries to burn the house down. He has a stroke. Okay, so boom, the guy O'Grady has a stroke, and then that's how the first scene ends. The next scene, which took me by surprise, motherfucking Jennifer Aniston is in this movie. I had zero idea that Jennifer Aniston was in this movie. So you hear somebody complaining, and she's like, "Oh, she's with her dad. I gotta be with my dad somewhere in New Mexico." These motherfuckers is in North Dakota. She's called New Mexico, North Dakota. I don't know how the fuck that happened. Anyway,
I have a lot of things to say about that.
I got some things to say about her character too, and Anyway, so they go and they in this old field, they in the old Grady's house, right? And so basically, there's a stupid guy, there's this kid, there's a handsome guy, overly handsome guy who knows how to paint houses, and Jennifer Aniston and the dad. And the big dumb goofy guy goes to the basement. He accidentally knocks the clover over and frees the leprechaun. The leprechaun hops out and he says, "Where's me gold? I want me gold." And the guy's like, "Oh, man, I don't know anything about it. Did y'all see that leprechaun?" And they're like, "What leprechaun, you stupid goof? What the hell going on?" And then the leprechaun is free, and he goes to terrorizing people until he gets his fucking gold back. And he goes and he kills people and all types of shit.
In some of the most comical ways I have ever seen anyone be killed in a movie to date. Like, I have never seen some of this before.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's insane. That's a great summary, to be honest with you. So that's outstanding. I want to give you all some box office as well as some cast. So the cast for this movie: Warwick Davis, the legendary little person actor, Warwick Davis, who was in Willow, and he's been in a bunch of other stuff, plays the Leprechaun. Jennifer Aniston plays Tori. Ken Olant plays her dad, Nathan. Mark Holton plays Ozzy. Robert High Gorman plays Alex, which is the kid. Shay Duffin plays O'Grady. That's pretty much it.
That's a small cast.
That's pretty much. Otherwise, it's a bunch of background actors that we don't necessarily need to know about.
Rest in peace to the pawn shop man.
Yeah, rest in peace to the pawn shop man.
To be collateral damage in a 90s horror movie has to be terrible. Like,
it was. Yeah.
He didn't ask for any of that shit. He was just locking the shit up in the safe, doing his damn job, and next thing you know, he gets pogoed, and that's fucked up.
That's why 90s movies, I think, especially 90s horror movies, are so fun, is because there were like, you could have some famous actor that tried out for a role, and they're like, fuck, we'd love to have you. And directors in the 90s were like, okay, we got this guy.
Mm-hmm.
How can we kill him in the most creative way possible? Like, how much time do we have to keep him on screen before he just doesn't get paid? Like, thanks for signing on. Here's $100,000. I thought I was going to be in the movie. Oh no, for like 10 minutes. Because then we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
This movie is 92 minutes long.
Yes.
It cost $1 million to make.
$1 million?
$1 million.
Wait, $1,019,090?
$1,019,93. It cost $1,019,93 to make.
What would the fuck?
Would you like to know what this movie made at box office?
What?
This movie made $8.6 million at the box office.
It made I was okay. See, I was wondering why. Here's how I know. Here's how I know Leprechaun. Okay, when they ask, okay. Doug said, "Are we either gonna watch Anaconda or we gonna watch Leprechaun?" To me, I heard the same thing. It's either I'm watching Anaconda and Anaconda or Leprechaun and Leprechaun. These movies are the same thing. Don't ask me how.
They're just basically the same thing.
One of the things I know Leprechaun from is 2 movies, okay? And it's not Leprechaun 1 because I've never seen Leprechaun 1 or 2. The Leprechaun I've seen is on BT, and it's called Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood. Leprechaun Back to the Hood is the sequel.
Is the sequel. So
Leprechaun in the Hood came out in 2000. Leprechaun Back to the Hood, THA, came out in 2003.
Yeah, back to the. Sorry, thank you for the correction. Back to the Hood, right? And then Leprechaun in Space. Those are the 3 or 2 to 3 ways that I knew Leprechaun. I was wondering why they was making all these sequels, but making $8 million will fucking do it.
Oh yeah, and fucking Warwick Davis was in all of these.
Poor is it him in all of them?
Poor Warwick Davis. I think he was in all of them. So Marcus, here is the train that is Leprechaun. Leprechaun comes out in 1993. It's followed by a sequel, Leprechaun 2 in 94. Leprechaun 3 in 95, Leprechaun 4 in Space in 1997, Leprechaun in the Hood in 2000, Leprechaun Back to the Hood in 2003, and then in 2014, Leprechaun Origins was released.
How do you have a sequel to a sequel? How you got?
I don't know.
Leprechaun in the Hood is a sequel.
Yep. Leprechaun and Leprechaun 2 were the only movies that came to the theaters. 3, 4, and both in the Hoods went straight to video.
Why did black people like that? There's something I got to figure out. I got to see what the profit was in those. Some ain't adding up. I'm disappointed in my people. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
This isn't a Leprechaun in the Hood podcast, but Leprechaun in the Hood had a budget of $1.4 million.
How much did it make?
It was direct to video, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh shit! Who's got the streaming numbers when you need them?
I don't know. Some people said that they gave it a B+. It had 6 out of 10. Let's put it this way. People liked Leprechaun in the Hood more than they liked the original Leprechaun.
Why? What the fuck is going on?
Also, I don't know. Maybe the cast was better. Okay, so Warwick Davis is the Leprechaun. Ice-T plays the character.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Ice-T plays a character in Leprechaun in the Hood called Mac Daddy. Oh.
Who wrote this? Somebody white wrote this. I know it for a fact. I know it.
And
Somebody
they,
white wrote Somebody named Jerry wrote Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
and then guess what? Coolio is in Coolio, rest in peace, is in Leprechaun in the Hood as himself.
Of course, of course, of course. The
There's
power of
another.
the black dollar.
There's another man. There's another person who is cast in this. Rashawn Nall. His character's name was Stray Bullet.
I can't even laugh at that. I
I'm
can't
just
even,
mad about it now.
I can't even indulge in that one.
Anyway,
that's fucking
yeah.
terrible.
So it made $8.6 million total. It made on its opening weekend. It premiered in the original Leprechaun debuted on January 8th, 1993. In 620 theaters and made $2,493,000 opening weekend.
Jesus Christ. I didn't think that. Okay, for a 90s movie, let's put this into perspective. I'm going to ask an honest question. For a 90s film,
yeah,
could you see how this could have been successful? What component of it would have made this successful?
I think it has elements of it that are, first off, let's talk about the evolution of our times. The first thing is that back in the day, it was socially acceptable to make fun of little people, just whenever you could.
That's true.
And there was a moment where I watched this that I was like, they're really out here exploiting Warwick Davis and just making him say some of the most wild shit I've ever heard in my life. This little person is recorded on camera within the first 10 moments of this movie shouting, "Catch me if you can," and running out of a room. And I went, what is happening?
He was like, "Look at me go. Look, do you like me buckles on me boots?" And I was like, wow, this is, that's not great.
The fact that they have him recorded on film that was put into a camera that was set up and shot a scene of him riding a tricycle dressed as a leprechaun had me go, what the fuck is this?
For no reason. They just did that for pure comedy. I guess I get the horror aspect, right? Like I guess I could get some of the ways you mentioned earlier, like dying in hysterical ways. Some of it did make me cringe, like the pogo stick on top of the chest of the pond man. That one in particular made me cringe, but it is creepy. Like, if I'm giving credit, the makeup, I think that the makeup of Warwick is kind of terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a pretty looking guy.
Really scary.
He's scary.
And the other thing I'll say is he's really scary looking. And even the end scene where his face is like melting off, and even the parts where like they lopped off like his arm, the blood gore portion of this is scary. Like, it's very well done. Like, it's not hokey. What this gave me Evil Dead 2 vibes.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
So Evil Dead 2 was a Sam Raimi movie. And it's considered to be like a classic horror movie. And so the original Evil Dead was released in 1981. Evil Dead 2 was released in, I want to pull it up because I want to make sure I get it right. It was released shortly, like probably around this time. I would say probably so Evil Dead was 1981. Evil Dead 2 was, give me a moment.
I don't think I've ever seen Evil Dead. That's one with the he got an chainsaw arm, ain't it?
That one is the Evil Dead is that's Army of Darkness, which is like the trilogy end to it. That's Evil Dead 2 and then Army of Darkness.
Got it.
So yes. I'm gonna keep looking this up.
No,
yeah, but anyway, so this gave me like Evil Dead 2 vibes. It gave me Evil Dead vibes, especially moments, that part where he got his arm caught in the door and it was cut off, and he like grabbed it and like put it back on. I was like, oh, I've seen this before. Like, where have I seen this type of like body horror in a movie before? And it was in that. So the Evil Dead 2 came in 1987, which was only 6 years prior to this. So I get the horror appeal to it, especially in the very beginning when it's like when he's impersonating the little girl's voice. I was like, that's
creepy,
terrifying.
Yeah.
So
even playing with the old lady's head when she died, like
oh my
impersonating
God.
her. I was like, oh, okay, like you kind of a sick fuck, huh?
That was really scary. Like, and so very well done. So the horror parts of this, like I get, it's just there's components to this where Warwick didn't really want to play it like a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So as they're shooting it, like he made the decision to say like, well, what if we did it in a comedic way? So much so that by the end of it, they're like, let's call this a horror comedy, not just a horror movie.
Okay.
So I think it's those portions of it where you kind of go like, what is happening here?
It is let me comment on this shit being 92 minutes or 96. Either way, it's too fucking long because I got like halfway through it. And at some point, I think when he was messing with the cop, I was like, okay, can we wrap this shit up? Because like it wasn't like I was agitated. I would have been fine, but it just seemed like it was doing shit just to do it. Like, and some scenes were extra long. And here's one more thing. The butt of the entire movie, the joke being we wanted him to have go. Oof. Let me backtrack.
Yeah, please.
This fucking kid is the most annoying kid. And he's the most annoying person in this whole. I was hoping he would die.
He's a classic. He is a classic 90s turd 12-year-old. Like,
Big
you know what I'm
snot-nose.
talking about? Like the little like turd 12-year-old that's like the kid from Jurassic Park. Like, oh, it's like a big turkey. It's just that all the time.
It's magnified times. Even the kid in Jurassic Park got their shit together after the first dinosaur came out. This little kid was like, well, I wanted him to raise some money so he could stop being dumb and stop being stupid.
Marcus, when they first introduced that premise in this movie, and they were like, oh, we're going to get him surgery so that way he's not so dumb anymore. I was like, oh, so this is a joke. Like this, that's the like nudge, so he can have a surgery. Like, and then when they reintroduced it at the end and he's telling Jennifer Aniston, he's like, we thought he could get his surgery. And she's like, you can't, like, that's not a thing. He's like, but he doesn't know that. And I was like, what?
Yeah, like is that the emotional element that I'm supposed to like fall for? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
And then at the very end, when Ozzy does this poor thing at the very end, and he's like, I did a smart thing. I was like,
what book is it where they take him out to the forest and then they got to shoot him because he's
is that Catcher in the Rye?
Might be, maybe. It's some book where he's like, they got to kill the big guy because he did something he wasn't supposed to do, and they had to kill him. That's all I could think about, like that and the Green Mile for some reason. Those was like some big dumb idiot, and it was just pissing me off. That the kid was pissing me off. He was pissing me off. The handsome guy was pissing me off because he was just handsome, and then Jennifer Aniston is pissing me off because she's like, I just want to go back to California and like everything. Also, I don't eat meat or cow.
Can we talk about how loosey-goosey Jennifer Aniston was in this movie? She thought a boy that she had just met was tickling her legs, and she was like, Bobby, stop.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what?
And what does he say after? He was like, she was like, I thought it was him rubbing my leg underneath the car. And he was like,
you let me do that?
Were gonna let me do it? And the poor dad is like, what the fuck? Is like, my arm is bleeding, but what the fuck is going on?
Also, I would like to know who decided that this movie should be set in North Dakota. Because
like the Eternals.
Real quick, North Dakota. This is North Dakota.
He put a buffalo on the screen. I was not expecting that.
But notice how flat it is. Notice how many trees there are.
Yeah.
For those who can't see this, I have put up a screen where it is a clear. This is a pristine.
It's a
vista.
bison.
It's very pretty. There's a bison. It's flat. It's very green. It's very picturesque.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of hills. not a lot of trees, and they
Well,
have
not
this
it was all
motherfucker in
desert.
a Jeep at the beginning,
Yeah,
driving through a desert on
driving
a
through a
mountain,
desert.
and
Yeah,
then there's just fucking trees everywhere. I was like, you've never been to the
no.
state that you set this in
Where was this
at all.
actually filmed at?
Oh,
Because
this
they
was
were
filmed in Northern California on,
yes,
like, Rick's farm.
yeah,
Like, that's where this was
yeah.
filmed.
Who's got an open lot we can go in and just get some bloody shit off? Like,
You wanna know where this was shot?
yeah.
Here's a fun fact, because I dove into this. This movie was shot at Big Sky Ranch, which is the same
Wait a minute.
place that Little House on the Prairie was
Oh
shot.
my god, is that the same house?
I don't think it was the same
Oh
house,
god,
but they said that Warwick Davis said that he felt a little blasphemous, like, rolling through this scene
no shit. Me
like
too.
that.
Me too. I don't know what it was about this movie. It's a 90s movie, y'all. Like, go
Oh, it's
watch it. Go just
steeped in
take some time.
90.
What pissed me off was I had to pay $3.99 to
Oh,
watch
yeah,
it
that was the most irksome thing. You can't
because
have this somewhere for free.
I don't. Well, it had it on Roku TV, but then I started watching it, and then I was kind of doing something else while I was watching. So I got 10 minutes in, and I thought my ears were like fucking up. I kept hearing Spanish, and I was like, "What is? Why do I keep hearing Spanish?"
Now
The
that
movie was playing in Spanish, and I have zero idea why Roku TV put the only Spanish version up there.
yeah, I don't
So
know.
that's my story.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to that. That was just it. Just
But that would
took me
throw
by
me off
surprise.
too. This movie was impossible to follow, but this was
The Leprechaun.
I would love to watch this whole movie
Like,
in Spanish.
I used to watch telenovela all the time when we
Oh,
were
yeah?
like me and my mom were like broke, and all we had was like PBS and like the basic channels on the TV back when they used to give you the basic channels. I used to watch that shit all the time. I had no idea.
That's hilarious. I would like to also bring up some other pieces about the production of this movie
Okay.
that would blow your mind. Okay, so this movie was directed by Mark Jones. It was written and directed by Mark Jones. It's his first time directing. My name is Mark Jones. He did not have any experience directing a movie.
Like at all?
No, this is his first movie. He had been typically working on TV shows.
Okay, like what?
Like, I'd have to look it up. I'm not entirely sure.
That's all right.
I'd have to look it up. I'm getting this from Wikipedia. So, but according to an interview with Fangoria, he said that he was inspired by the Lucky Charms commercials to write a Leprechaun horror movie.
What the fuck? Inspired? Is that the word you want to go for there?
So the part where this motherfucker's running away from a group of people going, "Catch me if you can." That wasn't like, oh, this will be funny because Lucky Charms are a thing. It'll be like, oh no, that's what he says in Lucky Charms.
So he took that directly. He said
took
was,
that.
What if the Lucky Charms was terrifying?
He also says that he was influenced by the movie Critters. If you've ever seen the movie Critters, which it has some little people as the horror element in there. And so basically, he was like, well, let's just do this for $1 million and see what happens. And
made $8 million.
And made 8 and also 5 sequels.
There is a component there, right? I mean, he directed all of the other Leprechauns in addition to Rumpelstiltskin, Ventriloquist. He seems to be like a horror guy. Yeah. I guess there is a component to seeing like kind of like the Winnie the Pooh horror movie that's coming out.
Yep.
Like your favorite loving characters, like, you know what I mean? Like the cute and fluffy type shit then turn horror. I know that there is a appeal there. And back then, of course, I guess I'm still stuck on how the hell we got the Leprechaun back in the hood. Like, what the fuck was Mark Jones thinking of? Like,
also, if he wrote that one, Mark, you and I might have to have a conversation.
Yeah, Mark, I don't know. Was you just driving through Crenshaw and all of a sudden was like, you know what? But Leprechauns in the hood. That's exactly what I want to write next.
Also, did you know that there is a Grinch inspired horror movie that is similar to the Winnie the Pooh one?
I did hear about that coming up. See, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. Stop touching shit. Everybody just stop. You just doing whatever you want to, and you don't have to.
Do you know what this movie is called, Marcus?
What?
Do you want? It's called. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a
Oh no.
poster for it.
Oh
It's
God.
called "You're a Mean One," the
Oh,
mean one.
the mean one.
And if you have not seen the trailer for this, you gotta watch this fucking trailer. It is bizarre.
Why are we doing this to Christmas classics? Why are we doing
I
this to these characters?
I don't know. Why did I need a leprechaun that kept saying? I also thought back to Leprechaun. I also thought that he was going to like. I thought he was gonna clean everybody's shoes throughout the whole movie, but
Why
he
did
is.
he do that once?
I don't know. I don't know. And
Because I
also,
thought it was so weird.
I he literally was like, "I make shoes. You can't have dirty shoes." Like cleans his shoes. I was thought he was gonna kill everybody's shoes, clean everybody's shoes that he killed. And so I expected like Jennifer Aniston would show up, be like, "What happened to him?" They'd be like, "Look, his shoes." Like I thought that was gonna be like a reoccurring thing, and this movie is just too dumb to even follow its own directions.
Yeah, it's when he's counting the coins and he's got to get the coin out the guy's stomach, and it's like I don't know. It was so much going on. Like, and who the handsome guy? Why is the handsome guy in this movie? We could have done without the handsome guy with a
Also,
strong chin and long hair and cut off sleeves.
and also, I like how the handsome guy's response to like, well, he's dead in that well. Let me just pour a shitload
A
of
shit ton.
straight gasoline
Shit
down the
ton.
well and then
here's
light it on fire.
and when they ran away, I was like, "There's no way in hell he ran away quick enough not to get fucking
Oh no.
pummeled."
He had some singed ass hairs on his
Bro,
backside from running away from
an
that.
entire gas tank.
Yeah.
And how do you explain that to the police that showed up afterwards? Because that was in small town North Dakota. How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, if it's North Dakota, it would take, depending on where they are, the police 30 minutes to show up. So maybe they just thought like, oh, by that point in time, it won't be an issue. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're really in the middle of nowhere, and that looked like the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
like even for North Dakota, it's going to take you a minute because
Like
it's
one
probably
guy, your
county
big
road.
guy is covered in blood, and
Telling everybody how he did a smart thing. And like,
yeah, I did a smart thing. Like,
And
all
the
right,
thing
buddy.
that bugged me about it is I didn't think he was that dumb.
He
Like
wasn't
he
that
said
dumb.
some dumb shit, but he wasn't like dumb. Like
Yeah.
I could get him some gold so he could pay for a surgery. Like
I just
what?
wanted him to have sex so he could be smart. Like, no, you
The
didn't. You
second
little
time they said it,
dipshit.
and then when he said a smart thing, I was like, "Oh no, this was not a joke.
That little kid,
This
he's
is a
the
real plot
definition
point."
of a fucking snot-nosed kid, and it just
Oh yeah,
and Jennifer Aniston, I know she looks back on this movie like, what the fuck? I mean,
this was the year
everybody's got to start somewhere, but fuck.
Marcus Friends debuted in 1994.
Did it?
She did this before she did Friends.
Oh, they booked. Oh man, she got friends from doing Leprechaun. That's
I
crazy.
think she might have.
Oh man,
So
Jennifer, come
I
on.
don't think she was in anything else right before Friends, but this movie came out in January of 1993, and the first episode of Friends debuted in 1994, I think in the summer.
Wow, that's impressive.
So yeah, she literally went from this to that.
I mean, her acting is still the same. I mean, that's not a knock or anything. But
the director loved her. The director was like, "Hey, we have to have her in this movie." Like he didn't want anybody else.
So what else was she in before that then? I guess that would be my question.
So she made her debut in the movie Mac and Me, if you've ever
I remember
seen
that movie. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So otherwise she was in Quantum Leap for an episode.
Oh.
She played Jeannie Bueller in the Ferris Bueller TV show.
Okay.
She was in a TV movie called Camp Cucamonga. And then her first like big movie debut was Leprechaun. And then she was in a bunch of other like little TV shows. Like she was in a TV show called The Edge. She was in a TV show called Herman's Head. And then 1994 happened, and the rest is history because that's when she got.
I didn't realize she was in so much. I mean, I'm not a Jennifer, and I'm not a fan, but I'm not like a big Jennifer Aniston go to her. Like if I hear something in it, I realize, Doug, who is your? Cause I'm kind of done talking about Leprechaun.
That's fine. I'm also done. If you don't If it's free, watch it. Don't pay $4 for it. So how's that?
How's
that?
Fine.
Here's the review. Don't pay $4 for it. It's hilarious, but don't pay $4 for it. It's insane.
Don't pay for it. Yeah, don't. We'll find a way to bootleg it. And don't watch Leprechaun Back in the Hood, because then that'll increase the streaming, and then people don't think we want a third one. That's not what we want.
I kind of want to watch Leprechaun in the Hood.
You gonna watch that by your damn self. I promise you that, because I ain't watching. I'm not watching no Leprechaun Back to the Hood. I can't do it.
Maybe Brian and I will
that would be a
for the bonus
great
episode.
Films in Black and White podcast with just y'all discussing Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
You know, Mike sitting silently, just like
not a mumbling word, just watching and waiting, watching him like a daunting Batman. So like Jennifer Aniston is not like one of the people I would jump to if I seen like was in a movie. Can you give me like your maybe 3, whatever it is you want, 3, 2, 1, whatever it is you want to do? People that as soon as you see their name in a poster, trailer, their involvement, that you're like, you will hands down go watch, no questions asked.
Huh. That's a good question. I really like Bryce Dallas Howard lately.
Okay.
Like, I think she's just got a good talent for things. If you set apart like Jurassic World Dominion, most of the other stuff that she's been involved with has been really, not her fault. I think that she has such a range of things. Like, she can do stuff like she's being chased by dinosaurs, but then she can also subsequently do things like The Help, right? Like, you stand both of those things up and you're like, that's an actress that has a ton of range, like movie wise, and that can really stretch the floor as far as that's concerned. I'm trying to think of like some other ones that I've seen that I would think would be like really, really good. I guess I'm gonna have to look up her name quickly. Because there's another like female actress that like I would think would be like really good too, that I would enjoy watching. Is it January Jones?
Yeah, Jones looks like somebody else. Oh, sorry for the silence. I forgot we on a podcast.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. January Jones would be the other actress that I would pull and say like she's really good in what she's been in. So I like to watch actresses that really like can show like a good range and do like a serious role really well. Like Cate Blanchett, another one.
Yeah,
Cate Blanchett can do like no wrong in my book. So if it's a Cate Blanchett movie or a Bryce Dallas Howard movie, I'm more than likely going to be like, they're going to bring it. Like, they have a reliable performance at every single time I'm going to show up for. I would even say, like, for me, some comedic actresses are a little bit different too. Like, I would say, what's the girl who was in that movie where
Sarah Silverman.
Easy A. Sarah Silverman is also a comedic actress for me that I can guarantee. But who is an Easy A?
Oh God. Give me 1 second.
She's a ginger lady, and I can't remember her name.
Ginger lady.
It's a ginger lady.
She's a ginger lady.
She was also in
Emma Stone.
Yeah. See, Emma Stone is also one of those where, like, if she's in a comedy, I can probably go and be like, yeah, she's gonna bring it and she's gonna commit to that role. So
that's really interesting.
How about you? For you,
I also like that you picked. I like you picked the actresses. Here's a weird reason why I asked before I give my answer, because it's kind of a theme with the people that I selected. Growing up, I was watching The Mummy again and The Mummy Returns for like the 5th time, because I finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I didn't know where else to go. So
I got nowhere else to go.
I was my comfort movies. So I was thinking about it and I was like, man, Brendan Fraser was one of those guys, you know, back in the day and even now to an extent. If you tell me Brendan Fraser was involved in something, I was probably going to watch it. It really didn't matter really what it was. And so then I started thinking of like, okay, who were the people for me, I guess, just growing up, and even now, some of these people even now, that I would watch anything that they would be involved in, and these were my people. Will Smith, absolutely anything that he's in, no questions asked, I'll probably watch it.
Okay.
What the fuck did I put? Jim Carrey. Jim
Okay.
Carrey
Yep.
is another one. Anything you tell me, Jim Carrey's gonna be in it. Jamie Foxx, because he's like a quadruple threat. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm putting Jamie Foxx in that category. And then like recently, somebody that like if you tell me they're in something, I'm probably gonna watch it. It's probably gonna be like Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, sure.
So I would add like Ryan Reynolds to that category. So those are my people. And I feel bad I don't have actresses, but I agree with your Emma Stone and Bryce Dallas Howard when you mentioned them. I absolutely would. I would watch anything.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I think about, like back in the day, like when I was younger, I think it's interesting how my movie taste has evolved over time.
And Tessa Thompson. Sorry, I gotta add. Anything Tessa Thompson is in.
That's fair.
I will absolutely watch.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting for me is that like over time, my taste in movies has evolved where there were certain like if it was a comedy, I would generally watch it. And if there were like for me, comedies were like my go-to. Like if it was comedy oriented, like I consumed from when I was in like middle school to about now, or no, when I was in middle school to like just like my sophomore year of college, if it was a stand-up special, if it was a movie, if it was anything, like if it was a web series, like I would watch it. So like Will Ferrell, I would watch all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
The one you just mentioned, Deadpool, like I would watch it. Ryan Reynolds, I would watch all the time. Bill Murray, I would watch all the time. Like anything, if they touch Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, like if they touch something, I was like, I have to see that because it's probably going to be hysterical. And what I've learned that's so interesting, like now that I'm on this side of it, is that like those actors need to bring a performance, and it's a challenging performance. And I would even say comedy is sometimes harder to do than a dramatic role because it's a different way of spinning it. But also, like, I didn't know any of the people who were writing those.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
For me, what I felt like was missed a lot is like I never was able to see or really fully capture or understand who was writing some of these movies, because that's the other side of it. That like when I think about it, like Old School, I love as a movie, but Adam McKay was the writer for that. And he also did Don't Look Up and he did Vice, which are two movies that I absolutely adore that are more recent. So for me, I wish I had spent a lot of time also getting to know the writers comedically that were an influence for me. And even to go back to Leprechaun just for a moment, there are moments of this that are so subtly hysterical. I think this movie is more comedy than it is horror.
For sure.
There's one part in this movie that I would watch on repeat that I think is subtly hysterical, is that the leprechaun is attacking them. He's outside the house. They're all inside the house. They're like, all right, we got to get Jennifer Aniston to the Irish guy. How are we going to get her there? Well, they just kind of all look about it. And they said, somebody says, I think like, I've got a plan. And like, she takes off in her Jeep and their plan is to throw shoes at this motherfucker because he can't help himself but to polish them. And there is this look on Warwick's his face, where he's polishing one. He's like, oh shit. And like he polishes another one. And he's like, oh no. Like, and they've just got him pinned down there for like 10 minutes, like shining shoes. And I was like, this is hilarious. Like an insane amount, a comedic amount of shoes being thrown at a murderous leprechaun. And your strategy for keeping him there is to get him to shine shoes. That's fucking genius. And it's hilarious.
Where does that even come from? I don't even know where that comes from. Like who decided that was a thing?
I don't know. But
that is some type of leprechaun lore.
That's the other part of this movie that they were like, fucking make it up. Like, what kills a leprechaun? 4-leaf clovers, of course.
But that has to be based in something like true, right? Like, I guess we wouldn't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but they just pulled it out of nowhere. Like, well, leprechauns.
But you're right, though. I mean, I feel the same way when it comes to music. Right? There are so many components, and I really like that you brought that up. There are so many layers to what my favorite movies and like experiences are from movies, like the experiences that I get from movies. But there are so many layers to what contributes to a really good movie and the experience of a movie that a lot of times we miss because we'll give the leads all the praise and all the glory, but then forget to like look into. It's kind of like music for me. Like, the artist is good, but what about the producer who made the track? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, what about the people who helped write the song?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's so many different pieces to the things that I love. So I really enjoyed that you bought that piece up.
Yeah, there's a Marcus, I'm glad you brought up the music part of it,
Mhm.
because for me, that's what I get with like that's where my love of like underground hip hop comes from, because there's some like ways in which and J. Cole does this well, and there are some artists like Mos Def who do this really well, where they have a line where they make 2 words rhyme, and there's a part of me that's just like, oh shit. And there's a line from I was listening to Mos Def today, and he has a line on a song called Hip Hop where he goes, my restlessness is my nemesis. And the way he delivers it, I'm like, ow, fuck. Like, it's just so, it's so well done. I get the same way about jokes where I'm like, that, I can't even laugh at that because I'm just appreciating how funny it is. That the setup was he shined shoes. The payoff is there's a scene where people are throwing shoes at him. Like, it's stupid, but it's just on another level. It's just so funny. Like, so I love that shit.
No, I think that is a great point, and what a great fucking tie-in back in a Leprechaun, because you're right. The people that we love and the movies that they write, they're not a soul. It's not a solo thing.
No.
You know what I mean? And so you should appreciate. And we didn't find out till years later when people start doing these documentaries or flashbacks on the life of these people, who had a hand in what. Like behind the scenes, like Pootie Tang. How many people like were fucking writing Pootie Tang that you really think you just give the lead credit or Chris Rock? And it's like, no, there's like Louis C.K. and there's always these other people that were like a part of making Pootie Tang what it was.
Or if you think about like some of the some of the like comedians that we like now, like John Mulaney. John Mulaney was a writer on SNL, like in the 90s as he was coming up. So it's like, oh, he's funny because he's had so much time writing, like practicing writing a setup, a delivery, like a punchline, like a payoff, like a premise and a payoff.
Adam Sandler. There's so many. There's a reason why they go on. Eddie Murphy, like to an extent, like there's a reason why the execution of the art is done so well for some of these people. Yeah. That's a really good point. That's great, though.
Anything else that you have to say about Leprechaun?
I don't know. We got Leprechaun and Pootie Tang, but we
can leave it there. That's a great place to put it. both are nuts for very different reasons.
Leprechaun and Pootie Tang. That's the name of the episode.
Leprechaun and Pootie Tang.
Leprechaun and Pootie Tang.
Well, great. As we said, don't pay for this. Stream it somewhere that's for free, because otherwise you're gonna want that $4 for something.
Just enjoy it with a friend. These are good to rewatch, watch how silly they are. But if you really want to be a part of what we watch next, join the Patreon. Visit us on socials and stuff, and you can be a part of choosing what we watch next. I think we already got our next movie picked out, huh, Doug?
We do. We have a Netflix movie called You People. You People. Yeah. You People. Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's an all-star cast. So
it's gonna be a Netflix movie, so it'll come out on Friday, I'm pretty sure. So we'll watch that. It's actually a movie packed coming up podcast wise. So it's You People on this next week, and then the week after it's Knock at the Cabin with John Batista.
Jesus. And then we go Quantumania after that.
Oh, by the way, it's not John Batista. It's Dave Batista. I gave him the name John for some reason that I don't understand.
It kind of looks like a John.
I think I combined John Cena and Dave Batista.
Overgeneralizing all the wrestlers. John the Rock Batista.
We also have to do our bonus episode where we each defend. I'm not forgotten about this.
God, that's right. Yeah, we gotta wait till Brian gets back. Yeah. So we will. Did we talk about that on air?
We did, last week. Okay. So go back and listen to last week.
Yeah. Go back and listen to last week. We will have a bonus episode, Patreon. Bonus episode. I'm not gonna say Patreon only. We don't know yet.
For the immediate future, Patreon exclusive.
Patreon exclusive, where each of us will defend the best wrestler turned actor.
We will select our champion. We will say this is the reason why they are the best wrestler turned actor, and we will see who comes out on top.
Whoever does it gets to be Shazam.
That's so they get to be the new Aquaman. That's the way it's gonna work.
That's crazy.
Marcus, anything that you would like to plug this week?
Oh, you know what the deal is. First of all, I do want to plug the Love Nerds. All right. Although Brian is not here and he is on vacation and Maggie is out on vacation, the family's out on vacation. Do you know how you can support them still? By visiting
How?
thelovenerds.com. Okay.
Ooh.
That's TheLoveNerds.com. So make sure you go on there. There's all types of recipes. There's all types of new skills that you can do. There's blogs, there's vlogs, there's links to new things. Make sure you visit thelovenerds.com.
Absolutely.
Then after you visit the Love Nerds, make sure you go to follow the mantra / the dot spreadshirt to get yourself some new gear that's coming out for Valentine's Day. We will have 2 different versions of gear coming out. All right. And one will be the special edition Noah Valentine's Day gear. And then we will also have another design out that'll be called My Boo, their ghost hugging and kissing for Valentine's Day. So don't forget to visit Style the Mantra, but don't forget to follow the mantra. Never offended, always humble.
Absolutely. We also want to plug this podcast, so be sure to recommend us to a friend, share us with those you think would enjoy it, because the best way to share the love and help us get more people to experience the podcast is to share us with other folks. If you're feeling like you want to sign up for the Patreon, we've kind of plugged it throughout the whole episode, but patreon.com/films in black and white. So be sure to check us out there. We kind of gave you a rundown of what's coming up. So we've got You People next week. We've got Knock at the Cabin the week after. We've got Quantum Mania after that. So there are some big movies coming. Don't miss it. But in the meantime, we do have a 3-step process to success.
We do.
Marcus, what's our first step?
You want to make sure that you read a book. I'm sure somewhere along the way in Brian's journey, there's an audio book or some type of book being read. You just want to read something. Doesn't really matter what you read. Okay. As long as it's not like anything detrimental to the human that you are. Okay. So make sure you're reading shit that really fuels your soul and gives you purpose, but pick up a book and read a book.
Absolutely. The second step is to, in addition to fueling your brain with some literature, be sure to fuel your body with some water. Drink some water, y'all. And treat yourself to the fancy water every now and again, because you know what? You've earned it. And if you need a little pick-me-up, Bubbler has caffeine in their water, so you can pick yourself up that way too. Not more than a cup of coffee, so it's perfect. But drink some water, stay hydrated. It's important. You can't drink juice all the time. You gotta mix in that water every now and again because your body needs it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but the Marcus, last step to success. What do you got?
The last step to success is to wash that ass.
Please.
Okay. You gotta wash that ass. Whatever it is you're doing, don't stop doing. If you're washing that ass, don't stop washing that ass. If you haven't started, start washing that ass.
You should.
Get a loofah, whatever it is you need, whatever, get some witch hazel wipes, really get in there, really clear up some of that scarring, and wash your ass.
Some scarring?
Hey, man. Hey.
All right.
Ain't no fissures, all that other stuff.
I'm not here to kink shame, but I have questions.
Hey, you asking too many questions, man.
Okay. All right. We'll just leave it there.
That
does it for this week's episode of Films in Black and White.
That's right,
we will be back next week. But in the meantime and the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we'll catch y'all next week.
You're goddamn right. You're damn